What's up, Koku?
What's up, Drew?
Yo, this is Unhinged live on a Sunday night.
Live, we're live. I'm so happy.
I mean, it's because it's breaking news, honestly. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's breaking news. It's breaking urgent news about our favorite family of Brandy Norwood. I would say I'm a big fan of Brandy.
I'm a huge fan of Brandy, yes.
But specifically, the legend Ray J is who we're
Ray,
talking about.
Ray
today.
J is patient zero to all the bullshit. The reason for the season is Ray J. Like, he's literally the reason why we're here.
Yo, but does he have the power to push the self-destruct and like the doomsday button now that it's all like he's opened Pandora's box? So it's like, can he now put everything back in now that he's unleashed the Kraken, as it were?
Well, remember what I said about Kim Kardashian kind of aging out in terms of what people are looking for?
Yeah.
I mean, and not necessarily because, I mean, 40 is not old. I think she's like 40, 41. But she's also now a mother and, you know, she was married to Kanye. So there's a different type of person that may be interested in what Kim Kardashian has to offer. And so what I said was that I think that Pete Davidson was a very tactical move on her end to try to sort of revive her career and become more relevant to the 20-somethings of the world.
Yes.
I think this play with the sex tape is again trying to give her character a little bit more scandal and depth in a cycle where she's not the hottest person in the Kardashian Jenner household right now. You know,
so you're saying this is a Kim move?
This is, to me, I think that everything with Kim has a way of sort of nestling herself within a little bit of the victim space sometimes. Without, when you really look at all angles of a thing with her, she knows how to play nice, but she also knows how to play dirty, but do it like with like a hiding her hand kind of tactic. So I don't think anybody here is necessarily innocent. Everybody's hands.
I'm in shock that this is like, because who is really picking up this news story, and do you feel like that is the audience that Kim is aiming for? Like, does this spill over into the audience that she's aiming for?
I think that it does, because everybody's always intrigued and enamored by the celebrity and even the likability factor of Ray J. It's like, why do we love something about Ray J so much? And a lot of that has to do with just the intrigue in terms of the things that have gone on with him. You know, everything with Ray J is always going to be entertaining.
Well, so, we have the tape. I mean, if we want to play the rant, we could play the rant, and we could let people in on the Ray J secrets, because I don't want to be too like inside baseball with it. I want people to know, like, this is what happened. You know, we're on it. We're on the breaking news, so you don't have to be, right? But it's like Ray J. He went on IG Live, from what I understand. Like, it was on all the socials once he did it. Which is, again, that's a very Jenner Kardashian type move. Like, it seems like they're clear on how these pieces of information spread. And so he's the Trojan horse, you're saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so this is Ray J as the Trojan horse. And I'm shocked that this is the theory, but I'm going with it. I believe you, actually. Let's get the volume up. Let's get the volume ready and throw on this Ray J clip.
Okay.
Kim Kardashian got her hand right in her.
Hold on 1 second. I got the Ray J clip up. Hold on. I'm gonna go back. Don't worry about it. We still got it up.
Like, it's here.
It's here. We still got it up. Yeah. So just to give a little bit of guidance and background for how Ray J has prior mentioned this, can you tell me? Because I feel like this is not the first time that he came out with this news.
Right, this isn't the first time he said it. I think that he's been more explicit about it now, because he's saying that there was a second and a third tape that were filmed.
Right.
And he's upset because all of this was orchestrated by Kris Jenner.
Wow. So, okay. What happened on the actual Kardashians rundown? Because there was a plot line in the show, from what I recall, where...
So, the actual plot line was that I believe Kanye and Kim's kids, Chicago, I believe it was playing like Roblox or something like that. And apparently an advertisement for her sex tape was included in the footage.
Oh, wow.
Ray J is saying that that's not possible and that just couldn't be true. And he said it's all fake and it's all orchestrated for the drama. I think what you have to think about here, too, is that someone like Ray J is not going to not pay attention to his news cycle, or, you know, especially like the place he's coming from is like, damn, y'all, like I got kids. Can we put this stuff behind me? Like there's so much more interesting going on. Like Ray just got the Raycon, you know, he's in the tech space. Like he actually does have some things going on that seem far more interesting to him than this particular sex tape.
So some of the commentary has been that like it's actually his need for attention, some clout during a divorce. Some of the commentary is suggesting that Ray J needs this and that Kim wouldn't need it.
That's the spin that Kim wants you to have.
Wow.
Like I think what people need to understand is like there are those. Okay, this is the example I'm going to use.
Okay.
It's just like Amanda Stenberg and that journalist.
Oh, okay.
When she DM'd that lady, you know damn well she knew that girl was going to make it a moment. And she knew how to orchestrate the play.
Okay.
People can often weaponize other people to do their dirty work. And a lot of times those people don't even realize they're being used. Right. Ray J is being reactionary because this is something that they've discussed and that they know that he's not with. You know, like he just wants to, like you said, bury it. So what makes him more frustrated in this situation, though, is like they're spinning it like she's a victim of the circumstance when they all agreed that they were going to come out with this sex tape.
Okay, I see.
That's what Ray J's issue is. He's like, y'all making it seem like I'm some predator or like I'm an abuser or something like that, or like that I don't respect women. I mean, I don't know any of the details beyond that, but again, this was something where they actually were participating in this sex tape, and Kris Jenner, she brokered the deal and made sure that they got paid whatever it is that they wanted. And what Ray J is saying that disturbed him is that she watched the sex tape. Kris Jenner watched the sex tape and said, "Well, this first one is better than the second and third, so this is what we're going to go with."
All right, so this is where the clip comes in, and I'm gonna throw it up on screen. I'm just find a little bit of room here for us to put it on screen. This is first I'm gonna change my camera view real quick.
And I also want to say, like, people can change, people can want different things in life, things like that. I mean, who is the same person that they were 20 years ago? And who the hell wants to be talking about a 20-year-old goddamn sex tape? We don't even talk about Paris Hilton's sex tape anymore. We don't even talk about Pam and Tommy's sex tape. Like, it's like these things are just, it's just archaic information. But I think that, I believe that Kim's interest in making this a thing again and like, kicking up like all this in the blogs is that she knew that Ray J has a really, really strong presence in the black media cycle. Okay. So she just wants to be talked about.
All right. Our fans will bear with me as I get this clip ready for y'all. I have it up. Just want to get it on the right screen. And this is
the ultimate spooky. Mom is a freak monster of a dark level. Watch her daughter get throats and gripper shots. That is
wow.
That's a wow.
They're taking it there. They're taking it there right now.
Oh my God.
They're taking it there right now. So crazy. Okay, so they're taking it there with the commentary. I love that. I love that about the fans. Let's get this Ray J clip up. What do you think about him doing it via IG Live? And just specifically, like, where does Ray J's IG Live register on the breaking news meter? Like, is he like a must watch?
No, I think that, yeah, if you're going to be a star or somebody with that kind of visibility, a star of that caliber, IG Live is probably a really great platform for somebody to go live because they're probably not going to be able, they probably don't functionally have a YouTube channel or maybe only be about their music or those kinds of interests. So I would not expect, obviously I wouldn't expect them to go live on or have to do it on Twitter. I think IG Live is the best thing for a circumstance like this.
All right, let's check it out. Let me just check this real quick. How am I looking? I know this is a different angle, but am I visible?
Yeah, you're visible.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna pull up this clip. All right, let's see if I can get the Facebook Watch clip up that you sent me because it got kind of crazy. Once you sent this to me, I was like, yo, it's on now. Ray J's ready. All right, so this is Ray J live and direct.
Her fingerprints all over my contract. When you look at the two,
make sure I get it on the right screen.
You look at my signature and you look at her signature on my deliverables. That say sex tape number 1, sex tape number 2, and guess what? The third sex tape or the second they've been trying to play me on, they call Santa Barbara Sex. Her mama made us go shoot it for safety. She watched the motherfucker and said, hey,
Her
we're
mama.
going to go with the first one because the first one is better. It gives my daughter a better look than the second one that I made y'all go do. But you watched it and made a decision. And then you get on to whatever show you was on and take a lie detector test with a fraud.
Yo, this is wild. This is so wild to me. I'm like, okay. Here's the thing that I wonder. When Ray J is saying, yo, you watched it, it's like he knew that already, right? Like, didn't he already know that she watched it? Like, wasn't he a part of being watched? Like, how does that work in Ray J's
like you're not even
court of
taking
public
responsibility.
opinion?
I think it's already strange, but
Right.
it's like you had that conversation and you know she watched it. You knew that back then,
Right.
And you were negotiating the terms and even agreeing to do it again. So like there's a weird universe there that he's also a part of.
So with that said, like, do you think that does he have plausible deniability if somehow it comes out that he was part of this Trojan horse orchestration? Like, because that's the one thing I'm like, there's so much risk in Ray J going forward with a plan that Kim has like this.
Well, the problem that Ray J has is that Kris Jenner went on a television show, and to be honest with you, that's the part I didn't see what show it was.
Okay.
And she took a lie detector test about it, which made Ray J out to seem like he's a liar. That's why he's so upset about it. Yeah.
Wow.
Because they're not owning their part, and they're putting it all on him. And it's like you're not misremembering, you're just lying, and that's his problem.
All right. So the other thing that kind of you mentioned to top off the show, which is that like Ray J, he planted these seeds like very, very long ago, and one would think that he might have reaped more by this point from going along with this plan. Is there any possibility that he's dissatisfied with where it's gone and like how this has turned out for him, and what is in it for him if he gets back on their bandwagon, especially if you're saying, if I'm understanding correctly, she might be a sinking ship?
I think that with him, he's threatening to sue.
Oh, wow.
Because again, now it's like defamation of character, and you're saying things that can be proven to not be true.
Right.
So
right.
listen, they got a $1 billion bag. I mean, that's probably completely his interest in that, you know.
Right.
Or they might even like settle to make him just go away with it all, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that in both of their cases, each one of their individual brands benefited from this situation. So no one can say that this sex tape was a so-called bad idea in terms of the goal that they had for themselves.
Okay, so if he is along with this plan, right, what's the best case scenario for Ray J going on IG Live, admitting that he was part of this big, basically a finesse to like create a bigger social media and media presence for Kim and possibly him? Like, what's the best possible outcome when you say, hey, like people are going to peel back a layer and be like, yo, you were a part of this too, aren't they?
But again, you have to understand what his gripe is about. It's not about the sex tape. It's about making it seem like he's the kind of person that wouldn't have protected his partner in a situation like this. It's about making it seem like he is the reason why this sex tape exists, as if she was not party to it as an adult.
Got you.
So I actually understand what Ray J is saying.
Right.
Because, I mean, if Ray J was simply saying, like, come on, man, I got kids, let's stop talking about the sex tape, that's a very, very different statement than having to now defend that you are not the sole party that made this happen. So that's why he's saying, like, listen, this is not fair. Because when your children, which is his point, when your children see that and understand that to be true in that way, then it really is like, well, what kind of daddy do I have?
But then that brings up some of the other supporting characters. So I'm going to bring up a name who's probably either peripherally or directly involved in this scandal. And you tell me, how it affects them, what it says about them, or what may happen to them because of it, or if this all blows up. And I think the name on everyone's lips is Kris Jenner to start.
Right.
How do you think this affects her? How do you think this affects her sort of like brand control?
I think that the public consensus has always been that she pimps out her daughters.
Yeah.
Like she is the ultimate momager in that sense.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think it really affects her brand in that sense, because I think it's been pretty clear that she's the reason why they have the kind of money that they do and the reach that they do. Like,
Right.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kris Jenner is very, very much so involved in making sure that the women are seen with certain people directly, like, you should date this person. I mean, some of this stuff doesn't even necessarily make sense. Like, who is it? What's the other one? The one that doesn't have plastic surgery?
Kylie. Oh, no. Chloe.
No, she has a lot. Kendall, there's a lot going on over there. It's like, what are we doing this week?
I'm like, no, which one? Rob. Like,
isn't Kendall dating Dev Booker?
well, she was, but I do think that when he lost in the playoffs, it was like, nah, we out.
Right, but let's be serious here. What is the world or the planet where Dev and Kendall are just organically meeting unless somebody else is
none.
making?
There's
Do you really think that they really truly watch basketball?
No, of course not. No, of course not.
They probably weren't even watching Serena. So it's like
They're watching them Q scores, baby. They know about them Q scores.
Listen, I as someone who has known people, I have known there's somebody very specifically I know that preyed on athletes, and I thought it was such a strange thing that this person was doing this.
From the Koku Puff vaults.
It's so strange, and it was so unchecked. And it's like, does this man know that, or these men, do they know that they're being used, or do they even care? But it's just so strange. So, anyways, I guess in this particular case, like, it's probably immaterial and doesn't really matter because it's like, it's not like the men in these scenarios are necessarily losing anything.
Right.
Because women are, self-sustaining and they are $1 and $billion worth themselves.
Okay.
It's just like, I don't know how the hell these people do this. Like,
well, I mean, okay, here's some other peripheral characters that I want to hear your take on how this affects them, what they're thinking, maybe. Your Tyga, your Travis Scott, Kanye West. We know they're all now very much enmeshed in this. What do you think is going through their minds?
So I think with Kanye, first of all, he's been saying that he wants to keep his daughters off the pole, and they're not going to be posing in Playboy like their mother, and he's criticized Kris Jenner quite a bit. Here's my thing, and this is where I have to defend Kim Kardashian or anybody else really for that matter, is if you meet a person where they are and this is who they've been, I don't think it's fair to criticize them for choices once things go wrong or south. Right. Kim had already posed for Playboy.
Wait,
Kim was already
counterpoint though, because Kanye West is a wild boy. Like she met him where he was, and he's a loose cannon. Like he ran for president. Like, we don't know if that was part of Donald Trump's subterfuge.
Like Apple airplane. Like, there's a lot.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's suing Adidas or trying to boycott Adidas for taking a patent. Like, he also has gone completely off the hinges as well. So I feel like you kind of have to match the energy of someone who's that chaotic in certain senses, and also buffer yourself from them too. So I don't know if his hands are clean.
Are you suggesting that it's a bit of a yin yang thing?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think they do complement each other. I think that they're kind of media games and they're kind of manipulative. I think it goes both ways. I think she's probably more effective with her manipulations and planning, but Kanye is a hard guy to pin down, and then on top of that, he's pushing for power and media influence just as much as she is. Like, he clearly wants to be relevant. He will be in this conversation in some way, shape, or form within the next couple of days, I'm sure.
I'm just not comfortable with people getting judged or criticized for something that was already on the table before. Yeah. So that's the part about Kanye's Kardashian trashing that has me a little bit more annoyed than usual.
Yeah, okay, I hear that.
Yeah.
All right, where do you think Tyga is right now? Like, how's he holding this?
If you recall, Tyga, it seems like he's just in his own universe. There was the whole thing with Tyga and Black China and also Rob, where there was a sort of a back and forth on social media.
Right.
And they were about the child support thing or whatever, and that drama cycle. So I think Tyga is fine. He's not connected to the family in that same way.
Okay.
And both him and Black China have moved on. So Black China has the relationship with Rob because of the shared child, of course. So there's always going to be some tie there. Some
connection.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that, from what I've seen in terms of media, all the things that we see about Rob Kardashian too, I feel like he doesn't enjoy the spotlight that much. He seems to at least have a bit of a healthier approach to how he looks at media. And I think a lot of times it looks like he just be over his own family.
Yeah, no, he's not involved in all that.
He's not. Like they probably can't even talk to him about this. Like, okay, what now? You know, what chaos?
Here's a big question, because I don't even think the sisters really register in this kind of thing. I think Chloe and Tristan have their own things that they're trying to manage and do damage control for. But what about North, Chicago, Saint? Like, how do you think this is affecting them? And like, you know, beyond the potentially fraudulent Roblox like ad, what do you think it's like to be the child of Kim? Not just Kanye, because Kanye, you know, he's implicated in this, but like Kim and this kind of part of Kim's fuckery that she came in with.
I think that when I've seen North interacting with media, she doesn't seem to really enjoy this.
No.
She always has something really snarky to say. And there's one time I saw something and she was like, why do you guys always take pictures of us? And I love it's so profound. I love both the honesty of elderly people and I love the honesty of children, because children will ask the most direct question with purpose. And it's so much more intelligent than the adults around them.
Yeah.
They're like, what are you doing following us? I'm a kid, you know?
Yeah. I think Saint is like that too, at least from, you know, because I don't follow children. I think that is absurd. Yeah. But like from the commentary, when I look in the comments, people say that Saint is Kanye's kid and that he definitely, you know, he comes out with this sort of brashness that maybe is a little bit more part of being a black child in this world than it is being a Kardashian, even though they are strangely both.
Well, let me also say this, and this is the problem that I have, and actually, again, this is the problem I have with both Ray J and the problem that I have with Kanye as well. You all chose to bed these women, but now your argument or your defense here, what you're saying is that you're mad at them because they went white on you.
Right.
Like, I have a problem with, you know, family this white family that, when this is a relationship decision that you made.
Yeah.
Nobody told you to sleep with Kim. Either one of y'all.
Yeah.
So now all of a sudden her whiteness is centered to the situation in a way that you want us to stand up for you.
Yeah, and particularly the white moves that we be warning you against when it comes to white women. Like
the stuff that predictably was going to happen. Y'all out here looking like y'all caused all of this in situations where each party was a part of it. And that's the kind of thing I would expect.
Listen, we talking about OJ baby mama here, like been in the drama, you know what I'm saying? Chris been in the drama. Like this is hereditary drama that's gonna keep getting passed down. That's why I bring up the North question, because I'm like, can you shield yourself? Like obviously we know about child stars, we know how difficult it is to come up in the spotlight. You know, Nepo baby or not, whatever opportunities you may have might be overshadowed depending on your parental drama. And I feel like their drama, I mean, the sex tape is, is it almost 20 years old now?
It's gotta be like 20 years. That's why I'm saying this is so freaking ridiculous.
And
like,
it's still
so
figuring into their lives. And if it is false that this Roblox ad came up, it's like, yo, now we're talking about it for a plot line. Like, we're talking about it in this, you know, tabloid back and forth to make one parent look worse. I just feel like there's no way you can come out a healthy, well-adjusted kid.
Here's my thing. I do believe it is possible to insulate your children from this type of drama or being part of the news cycle or whatever next move in this generation that is intended by Kris Jenner. But I do not feel like either of these people, or really much of the family, has a healthy relationship with how they view fame. It's something that they seem to seek and need. So most people will probably be like, let's get the heck on out of here. We're going off into some island remotely. Let's just kind of like get away from the press and like turn off our devices and just not deal with this madness and just like let our children just go and play and run around. But they just keep feeding.
Yeah, this is the game. Like this is like fourth quarter.
We're talking about different kinds of people. Like we all have different goals and you know different things that we want to meet. So while this all sounds super ridiculous to me, it's not ridiculous to them.
What's the over-under of years we're going to be talking about Kim Kardashian's sex tape? Like, I feel like this, to your first theory, this resurrects the sex tape. And it brings her, like, her sexiness back into the headlines.
Because my thing is, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't even watch her sex tape. Like, I've seen like little like kind of pictures framed. Like, that type of stuff doesn't necessarily interest me.
Listen, I wish I could say I hadn't.
I didn't even watch it like 20 years ago. But what I will say is that for the people that have watched it, they always said it was a mediocre tape.
Yeah. No, it's wild trash. And now that you know that it was potentially staged, that like this might have been a draft. You know what I mean? Like this might have been a first cut. I was just like, when I think about it like that, like not only does it explain why the acting is so flat and bad and dry, it's like, oh man, maybe they were like tired from doing multiple takes. Like, cause this is in the era where I felt like we didn't have camera phones, right?
Yeah,
so
this was like
we're talking about DV cams.
DV,
yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, so it's not easy for something to leak. This is like Pam and Tommy Lee. It's not easy for something to leak and spread in the way that it did, even as easy as it is now. It's like a rapper has a sex tape now. It's on Twitter. It's on all the adult sites. Like, there was still a little bit of a barrier to entry to spread a piece of content like that, and it went wildfire really quickly. And now I feel like we're in a new era where sex tapes aren't as relevant, partly because Ray J normalized it a lot. And I don't know, it just seems like it's gonna fucking live beyond any time period we might have imagined.
Only said both of their parents are narcissistic and famous. It's a tough combo. Like, there's whole support groups for children of narcissists, like just regular folks.
Yeah.
That is so freaking true. No, that is so true. And it's just like they both have this insatiable need and hunger to be talked about in some kind of way.
Yeah, in addition to the fact that, like, look, not a lot of people's dads are Woman of the Year as soon as they transition, right? Like, that was the joke that got made about it, but it was also like, hey, like, let's recognize the fact that, like, white people gonna white people. You know, they take up space in the way specifically that white people know how to do, and Caitlyn Jenner took up space specifically in the way that she knows how to do. Here in Brooklyn, Marsha P. Johnson Park, which is named after a trans woman, is like the almost like oft forgotten like trans activist struggler. And then, like, we get Caitlyn Jenner's face put on that struggle. And it's another thing, like, where they find a way to stamp themselves on things, and that white privilege will show up. Like, I think even for Kim, that white privilege shows up. And like you said, for Kanye, it's no longer convenient, right? Like, because now he's fighting the black struggle of being a $1 billion clothing designer. And, like, you know, he wants to now invoke the fact that, hey, he hit his glass ceiling, and she's like, hey, homie, ain't no ceilings here. Like, she's no ceilings forever. And so I think that when the names Jenner, Kardashian come up, we associate them with blackness because of how it affects us. But they're done. They don't care. They've already moved on.
I mean, now we're seeing them like reducing their BBLs.
Yeah.
And leaning more into her white aesthetic now.
Yeah.
You know, the deep spray tans are gone.
They're gone.
You know, but they're trying to do something different right now.
You think Kylie's taking out the lip fillers after this? You think it's going to be a family-wide?
I know when Kylie was when she was pregnant, she wasn't getting all those treatments, so then she was looking really, really drastically different, which was more so like her old self. So I don't know. I mean, you know, plastic surgery for some people, you know, some people are into like tweaks and, you know, maintenance and things like that. But for some people, it's truly an addiction.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think about things like when there's things like body dysmorphia too, right? Like, so like you might see a picture of yourself, like let's say you saw a picture of yourself 20 years ago and you're like, how did I think I was fat? Like,
Right.
Yeah, things like that. But these are people that are seeking to always improve in that same way. And they're always trying to improve something and change it and keep up. So that is an addiction.
Yeah,
you know?
It is. I mean, we seen what Madonna's looking like out here. You know, like Madonna's going black while they're coming back white. Like, so they're trading like trajectories on the plastic surgery tip.
And she's like literally in her 60s. And I do believe that her most recent boyfriend was the black dude that's like in his 20s.
Yeah. I mean, but isn't that like a Kris Jenner move too? Like, I feel like she's also kind of like the vampire on the black fountain of youth. Like,
I think Kris Jenner's man might be in his like early 40s or something like that. I remember reading that or thinking that, you know, I could be wrong, but I do believe he's like younger. I mean, he's quite younger than her.
Yo, you think Pharrell gave away the secret? Like, you think he's like a reverse vampire now because he used to have it and then he went famous and they took it from him?
It's so interesting. I kind of asked myself that question because Pharrell was so like looked like a little kid almost for so long. Like literally, you could put side to side pictures of him like from 20 years ago, and he would look exactly the same. So what is the stress of the moment that reversed that?
I mean, when you're stealing and you're doing demonic things, like it's just like I think it just catches up to you. I think with just as a person who I know I could be more open-minded about body modification, and I'm not necessarily. I feel like body modification is kind of where I draw one of my lines. But with Kim, it's like, man, she's Angela Bassett levels. Like she tweaks like very subtle, and it's not catching up to her in a way where she's looking like a Lil Kim, let's say. And that's no disrespect to people who've altered their appearance in ways that not as obvious. And I feel like there are some others in the press where it's like their top tier level plastic surgery shows, almost like you said, this sociopathic need to be in a certain age presentation that they will never let go of, right? And it feeds into other aspects of their lives.
I think what's interesting here too, and this also goes for Kanye, and it may go for Kim as well, especially when speaking to the narcissism aspect. A lot of times, narcissism is a lot of it is about vanity and about how they appear, and vanity a lot of the times also is associated with youth. When people with these tendencies start to get older, they don't seem to cope with the world or aging the same way that we would.
No.
They have a really tough time not being seen as the most central figure in the room, not being necessarily the most interesting person in the party.
Right.
And so they don't manage that effectively. So I think that's why you see some of the behaviors that we see here, because a narcissist or someone like that, or that has those kinds of tendencies, will really choose to do things by any means and not think about integrity or think about circumstance. They're kind of like, let's just fire off now and just go with whatever it is, because this is what I need you to believe in this moment. Who cares about the truth?
Yeah, I mean, Kim is the level of person who won't smile or frown to prevent frown lines, right? Like she and crow's feet. Like her position as like a doll, like an American doll, because we hear from her, but we don't really hear from her, right? Like she's like a very standstill, like picture of American beauty, whatever you want to call that is. She's like a Marilyn Monroe of this generation, the modern generation, and that sex appeal is so much based on staying in that same frozen moment in time. And I think that's why I'm falling on the side of like this Ray J thing isn't orchestrated, because like, one, it brings a lot of attention to how she used to look, and she goes through a lot of trouble to issuing her appearance, like the paper mag shoot where she did the champagne flute, where that was when she was flaunting the big butt, right? And then this now blonde eyebrow shoot, like this airbrushed blonde, bleach blonde, like she is always trying to update her image, and it's not just the Instagram feed. She's like, I'm going to take even viral images of me, searchable images of me, so that when you type her name into Google, you're going to get the freshest, latest look. And I feel like if you start to look for her sex tapes specifically, you're not going to get that. You're going to get this reminder like, oh, this person used to be youthful and look different.
Yes, that is true.
Like she can't control that.
There's only one thing that I would say that I disagree with you on, in terms of like my thoughts on it, but I don't necessarily mind people getting plastic surgery if it makes them happy. Like I'm not one to necessarily judge that. The only thing I just really don't like is I do not like when ethnic people get nose jobs.
Oh man.
I just think that is just such an erasure and removal of one's actual culture and character.
Yeah.
I don't like to see nose jobs. I'm not gonna say anything if you get breast implants. I'm not gonna say anything if you nip tuck here or decide to get your BBL. If that's something that you prioritize, that's fine. I'm just gonna be genuinely sad if you choose that the nose that came with your face is something that you can't live with.
I mean, I think it's, for me, I'm definitely, God is working on me here. I do want people to do the thing that makes them happy. I just think that almost in the same way that like people who are undergoing transitions from one sex to the other should have like full psychological counseling and support during that choice to make a transition, I feel like there probably needs to be better psychological support for people who are going under the knife to change something cosmetic, because like you said with the dysmorphia piece, they're going to continue to see something, right? Like
yeah,
whether or not that's the result. So it's like it becomes addictive. And I'm wondering, like, if we don't have those checkpoints in place, what's going to happen to people when it's not just BBLs that are very accessible, when it is rhinoplasty that's very accessible, when it is facelifts and cheek implants that are very accessible? It's going to start looking kind of wild out here.
I don't think people are realizing that a lot of this stuff takes maintenance and it's not like forever. Even with breast implants, I think that shelf life on the breast implants is like potentially like maybe like a decade or two or something like that. Then you have to get the procedure done again. Like, do you really want to be like 55 years old and going under the knife to get your nip tuck?
Yeah,
like, come on, like that's just, you know, that's the stuff that no one's thinking about. And a lot of these procedures are so experimental or new to us. We don't even really know what's going to happen to some of these folks. Like, people have died under the knife getting BBLs and stuff like that. So now there's a world where there's corrective surgeries, especially with those people that were getting those butt shots. And they didn't even know what was in them, and it was like caulk and silicone, like not medical grade silicone even. It was like straight up like Home Depot silicone.
Yeah, G. People gonna be out here falling apart soon. They're gonna be at the award shows. I don't know how Madonna's gonna look receiving those Lifetime awards, but there's things that's gonna like start falling in different places that you didn't expect.
Stuff is happening, Michael Jackson caught a lot of flack for what he was doing, but he's not unlike a lot of people. Like, you walk around LA and like everybody's got something. And nowadays with the accessibility of plastic surgery, like how many people do we actually know now that have veneers?
Wow,
people
for
go to DR and like get. I'm like,
Mexico.
That's something that you're prioritizing. That just sounds wild to me. Like, I've even worked like retail jobs where like people decided that they were gonna get a BBL, and it's like, dude, like you're doing this so we can like sell like somebody a size 9 shoe.
Yeah,
what are we doing? Like, how does this help?
You would have fit in the adult straight leg at the Gap. You just like
what?
I don't understand it. I'm so glad we did this Unhinged live. The Ray J theory knocked me over, and I'm thinking I'm in league with it. And I'm so thankful that we got to do another episode of Unhinged. I'm Drew Breez.
I'm Koku Puff.
Yo, and we out. We'll see you guys soon.